stop acting like the leadership of the Dallas Cowboys is something you can just quantify with a passer rating or a touchdown to interception ratio. Because if you're still part of the crowd that thinks Dak Prescott is the problem in North Texas, you're flat out ignoring the testimony of the men who actually put their bodies on the line for the star. I've sat in Jerry World, I've broken down thousands of hours of film, and I've watched every high-pressure snap under the bright lights. But what really matters is the weight a man carries when the cameras are off and the locker room doors are shut. When a guy like Dalton Schultz, a man who isn't even on the payroll anymore, goes on the air during Super Bowl week and calls Dak the best leader he's ever been around in his life, you better stop talking and start listening. I am Carlos Eduardo, the lead analyst for the Star on the Helmet, and today we're pulling back the curtain on why this franchise remains galvanized despite the constant noise from the outside. If you've been following my analysis, you know I don't pull punches. I'm blunt because America's team doesn't have room for mediocrity or excuses. But there is a massive difference between a lack of team success in January and a lack of elite leadership at the most important position in sports. From my perspective, Dalton Schultz's comments on 105.3, the fan weren't just a former teammate being nice. They were a roadmap to understanding why the Cowboys haven't spiraled into total irrelevance. Schultz was a fourth-round pick out of Stanford. He was a guy who, by his own admission, didn't even believe in himself when he first walked into the facility. But Dak Prescott did. That's the clutch factor that doesn't show up in a box score. I see a quarterback who essentially willed a starting tight end into existence through sheer infectious energy and unwavering faith. When I look at the film from those years, I see Dak pointing, directing, and trusting a young Schultz on the money downs before the rest of the league even knew who he was. If I'm being honest with Cowboys fans, we have a bad habit of comparing everyone to the legends of the 90s dynasty. We want the surgical efficiency of Troy Aikman and the playmaker fire of Michael Irvin. But we forget that even those icons needed a culture of integrity to thrive. Schultz used that word integrity. He said Dak is galvanizing to an entire franchise. I've seen this firsthand. In an era where we're dealing with the fallout of losing a generational talent like Micah Parsons to a trade, and the front office is playing salary cap gymnastics with George Pickens and the franchise tag, you need a stabilizer. You need a guy who ensures that gap discipline on the field is matched by emotional discipline in the huddle. What I see on the film is a quarterback who carries the heaviest burden in professional sports without flinching. Whether we're preparing for a historic trip to Rio de Janeiro to play in the Maracana or grinding through the gauntlet of the NFC East, Dak is the one keeping the ship upright. The critics love to point at the playoff exits, and trust me, I've been the first one to call out a bad read or a failure to pick up a simple stunt. But you cannot tell me this team would be better off in a post-Dak world. We've seen what it looks like when America's team doesn't have a leader under center. It's a rudderless ship in a hurricane. From my perspective, the real failure hasn't been the quarterback. It's been the collective inability to match his level of preparation. Schultz said Dak's leadership is truly infectious. So where is the infection in the rest of the roster when the lights are the brightest? Why are we seeing defensive lapses when the pressure is on? If every man wearing the star had the same integrity that Schultz saw in Dak, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about Super Bowl week as outsiders. We'd be the ones holding the trophy. As we look toward the 2026 season, the stakes have never been higher. We're taking the star global, representing the NFL in Brazil, and the pressure is only going to intensify. Jerry Jones wants a winner, and I want a winner. But I'm telling you right now, I'm siding with the guys in the trenches on this one. I'm siding with the players who have actually worked out with him, trained with him, and seen the man behind the mask. My analysis is simple. Dak Prescott is the culture. He is the standard. You can talk about reused content or stale play calling all you want, but you can't manufacture the kind of loyalty Dak inspires. We need to stop looking for reasons to doubt him and start looking for ways to build a roster that actually deserves the leadership he provides. We're chasing that next ring, and the road goes through number 4. If we want to restore the legacy of Landry and Staubach, it starts with respecting the man who has held this franchise together through every storm. Stay grounded, stay blunt, and keep your eyes on the star. We're going to Rio, and we're going there with a leader who has earned every bit of the authority he carries. This is Carlos Eduardo, and that is my final word on the state of the Cowboys' locker room.